Hey, it's Justin Brown here from Primal Video. So the iPhone 7 and the Galaxy Note 7 have just been released and they're both sporting some great camera upgrades, but which one is better for video? So in this video, we're going to take a look at both the primary cameras and the front-facing cameras on both devices. Apparently one of these phones might blow up, this one, but I'm prepared to take that risk to show you the difference. Right, let's jump straight into it and we'll take a look at the primary or the rear-facing cameras on these two devices. So they both now have a 12 megapixel camera. The Galaxy Note has an f1.7 aperture lens and the iPhone 7 has an f1.8. They both have optical image stabilization. The Note 7 has dual pixel phase detection autofocus, but a single LED flash. The iPhone 7 comes with a quad LED True Tone flash. Both of these cameras support 4K or UHD at 30 frames per second and 1080 at 60 and 30 frames per second. So looking at slow motion capabilities, the iPhone 7 supports 120 frames per second at 1080p resolution, whereas the Note 7's only slow motion option is 240 frames per second at 720p, which the iPhone does as well. The iPhone 7 also includes image stabilization for time lapses as well. So we started by taking both of these devices out into the bright sunlight to see how they'd fare. The first thing you'll notice is that the Galaxy Note 7 has a much wider image. And as with most Samsung devices, you'll see that the image is a lot more saturated. So all your colors are brighter. The grass is greener, the sky is bluer. Both of these cameras are set to their maximum of 4K, but the Note 7 also has far more detail and a much sharper image. In really bright situations, you'll see that the color still holds through on the Galaxy Note, whereas the iPhone 7 looks pretty washed out. But in our test, the iPhone did have more detail in the dark areas of the shots, but only during daytime. Comparing the two at nighttime is where there was the biggest difference. The image is heaps brighter and there's a lot more detail and a lot less noise and grain on the Note 7. Even with slight movement, the iPhone was struggling to keep focus. And even when I was filming this, I had some random guy come over who was a big iPhone fan, saw the two side by side and couldn't believe how much sharper and brighter the Note 7 footage was compared to the iPhone. The footage here pretty much speaks for itself. On the other hand, the optical image stabilization on the iPhone 7 absolutely destroys the stabilization on the Note 7. The iPhone 7 does an awesome job at keeping your image smooth. But in general, at nighttime, the iPhone 7 is just missing so much detail and it's actually a noisier or grainier image. Both of these cameras were really good at autofocusing, but the Note 7 once again takes the cake here. It was much faster and it got the autofocus right every time. There were a few times with the iPhone where it wasn't quite in focus on the foreground object. The slow motion on the iPhone looked great. Having the ability to capture at 120 frames per second at 1080p resolution is awesome. Side by side though, at 720p, both at 240 frames per second, the Note 7 once again is a crisper, cleaner image and a lot less grainy. So moving on to the front-facing cameras, the Galaxy Note 7 has a 5 megapixel camera versus a 7 megapixel on the iPhone 7. The Note 7 camera should be better in low light with its f1.7 lens versus an f2.2 on the iPhone 7. The Galaxy Note, however, does support 1440p at 30 frames per second, whereas the maximum on the iPhone 7 is 1080p at 30 frames per second. But the iPhone 7 does have a Retina flash built in as well for the front-facing camera. So once again, you can see that the Note 7 has a much wider field of view. Both of these were shot at exactly the same time with the same distance between myself and the camera. The Note 7 is again a much sharper image, but it is also higher resolution. But even when we dropped the quality on the Note 7, it was still a much sharper, more detailed and just clearer, cleaner image. At nighttime, again, the iPhone really struggled. For some of the shots, the iPhone front camera was actually brighter, but it was so much more pixelated and noisy and grainy, especially when you compare it to the Note 7 sitting right next to it. If you are using your iPhone or your Android device to create content videos, then make sure you grab our free checklist running through how to film professional videos with your iPhone or your Android device. I'll put a link to both PDFs up on screen now and also in the description below. If you found this video helpful, we'd really appreciate a share, a thumbs up, or a comment. It really makes a huge difference. Make sure you head over to primalvideo.com/subscribe to subscribe to our weekly video updates. I'll see you next time.